I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move on to number 3. If you had a chance to take a look at the agenda, do we need to make any changes, amend it?
Under the number 8, Police Department, we need to add an executive session.
Any other changes? If not, I'll need a motion to approve the agenda with adding an executive session under 8.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda with an addition of executive session under 8.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We'll move on to number 4, approving September 12th and September 14th meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion to approve the September 12th and September 19th meeting minutes.
I'll second.
I said 19th, right?
No, you said we're...
19th,
Oh.
excuse me,
12th
19th.
and 19th, yeah.
You said
Who seconded it?
Julia.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We'll move on to number 5, approve July through September warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve July through September warrants.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
So are we pretty much, as far as you know, caught up?
As far as I can tell, we're as caught up as we can.
Okay, all right.
Any other discussion, concern? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We'll move on to number 6, public input.
I have public input. Some of you have documents. I was short one. I apologize, Julia. Some time ago, I had several FOIAs out, Freedom of Information requests. And one of them had to do with the Visa credit cards that were with certain members of the city. These are 2 that I came up with that caused some questions for me. The rewards points, as of 2021, those are what were still on the cards of the copies that I got. Because I got a copy of the warrant as well as the copy of the statement from the credit card. And the credit cards, the last 4 digits are labeled on that second sheet to who those belong to at that particular point in time. The problem is that these reward points can be redeemed for cash, or they can be redeemed for products or whatever. So it's something that the council needs to take, because the council ultimately is the owner of these cards. I don't know, I have no way of checking whether or not those points are still on those cards. It would be on the statement, or if it's been redeemed or anything like that for that. So it's something you guys need to check on. The other thing on the statement was they could get a cash advance. That's something you may or may not want to have unsupervised. And like I said, the second piece of the documents was a fee for an app for work from home. And that was for the former finance officer. I don't know if that app is still active. I am assuming that it has a password, but I don't know if that app is still functioning. It's something you probably should check out. that, because my understanding of the app is that that would give access to the records here at City Hall from home.
Are you talking about Patricia?
Yes.
So all of those passwords and anything to do, being able to access our system here, that's all been changed.
Okay. But like I said, if she's still in possession of that app, whether or not, and I would assume Wanda might have had access to it too. So it's just something to double check to make sure that it's closed down and stuff. And like I said, I've been going through because I had, one day I spent from 8:30 till 5 o'clock in the afternoon in here going through tubs of receipts and stuff. And they were given to me and told me go ahead, so I did. And I had copies made. So these are, like I said, these are some of the ones that I came across when I was doing some research on another project. So, but I felt it was important that you guys knew that there's another problem with, in one instance, I seem to remember that there were 3 different credit cards under a particular name. And I'll deal with that at a later date, so. Does anybody have any questions, or?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public input?
Yes. So, I just wanted to talk to you guys about, I feel there's maybe some hesitation about hiring me back on as part-time. I might not have been so clear when I left on the sole purpose of why I was leaving. I understand why people would be mad that I left just right after you guys got me a raise. I completely understand that, and the main reason I left was really to spend more time with family, not the days off that I needed. It was when I went home, I could take off my uniform and not have to worry about being called in the middle of the night. When I was off, I'm off, and I know now things have changed, but that was one of the main reasons I had left, is because it was so hard when I went home. I couldn't plan on going out to supper with my wife because I didn't know if I was going to get called in to go into work that night. And just the amount of days that I was on call, and yes, we didn't have on call, but we were still getting called for super small things, and it still took up time not knowing if it's going to be a big thing or a small thing that we're getting called in for. So that is really the main reason I left, was to be able to take off the uniform when I got home and not have to worry about having to put it back on until I clocked in the next day. And that was what I meant when I said spend more time with family, is being able to be off work and be done. So I would still really appreciate coming on part-time. I know the town really well already, and I know all the processes and procedures that you guys use and need to go through. I have a good relationship with a lot of people in town. So if you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer them. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Any other public input? If not, we'll move on to number 7, Finance Office. I'll need a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 125-21 personnel.
I'll motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-21 personnel.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We are in executive session at 6:10 p.m. Let's see, we got some nice furniture out there for you.
Thank you.
PM. And with that said, do we have anything else before we move on?
So should we make a motion now?
Yeah.
Okay. I will make a motion to hire Abigail as part-time as of October 7th at $25 an hour.
Through the 31st.
Up to 20 hours a week through October 31st.
I will second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We'll move on to 7C, motion to approve Dave Hodson as business online user to originate the ACH files.
I'll motion to,
Good for it.
I'll motion to approve Dave Hodgson as business online user to originate ACH files.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Wait,
Go ahead.
because we've talked to the bank, and they will go on tomorrow if we pass this next. But Abigail is on there. So do we leave her on or take her off because she's went to the part-time since Dave is here?
We're probably not allowed to have two on
Yeah, she is already.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, but that Abigail would have to be in the minutes. All this has to be documented to, so the bank sees it.
Yeah. Add Dave and,
Remove Abigail.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So
they
does that
restate-
need to be in the motion?
You just want me to restate the motion?
Yep,
Okay.
restate the
Yeah.
motion,
Yeah.
motion to add Dave.
Hold on.
Wait a minute.
So the way they were, the reason we have to add this one is because she has a little token issued by the bank that she has to use to file the direct deposit payroll. So this is gonna allow the bank to transfer from her name to my name. And then the way they told us is, yeah, it has to be a motion to remove her from all bank.
So let's do it two separate motions. Motion to remove Abigail Moore as authorized user, and then a second motion to add Dave as an authorized user.
So then right now we're okay on this motion at the 20, or what, or
Correct. So first, do the motion to remove Abigail. So motion to remove Abigail Moore as authorized user of ACH payment token for payroll through Premier Bank. Approve that motion, and then after that, go to motion to add Dave.
So I'll make a motion to remove Abigail Moore from all Premier Bank, what would you call it?
Transaction.
Transactions,
ACH.
ACH payment.
ACH payment,
Yeah.
because she's on other accounts too, so.
Okay, so instead do a motion to remove Abigail Moore as authorized user of ACH through Premier Bank.
Okay. I make a motion to remove Abigail Moore from all business ACH payments from the Premier Bank.
Yep.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion, concerns? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Now we'll need to make that other motion.
I'll motion to approve Dave Hodgson as business online user to originate ACH files.
Second.
Any other concerns, discussion?
So this will cover all, okay, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Any other discussion in regards to this line item? If not, we'll move on to Police Department with Chief Thompson.
It's that time of the month again, stats. Obviously, our numbers went down a little bit from last month. Department got half. Usual stuff, dog calls, traffic stops, school patrols. And then, so I'm learning with the way the county handles stuff when I'm not here. They're not adding me into the call, so I have to create a separate call from the original one. So stuff that happened on Friday, like accidents, won't show up until our October stats. Because I can't create something out of their system. I have to make my own. Typical stuff we're seeing was a domestic that was dispatched to, but got changed to a family offense on our stat sheet because it wasn't a domestic. Questions about the stats? And then, update-wise, still get called by the county. I just don't answer now. Everything else was discussion of part-timers in executive sessions.
Everyone had a chance to look them over, the stats? Any discussion questions in regards to them? If not, we need a motion to enter into executive session.
Make a motion to enter into executive session SDCL 1-25-2, parentheses 1, personnel.
I'll second it.
Any other all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We are in at 6:50 PM. Session at 7:04 PM.
I will make a motion to approve hiring part-time officer Jason Baker at 25 per hour. Part-time.
Larsen.
Who seconded
I did.
Kendra.
Any other discussion or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We'll move on to number 9, city website renewal. The city website renewal.
Oh, yeah.
I can. So I got the login from Abigail to just take a look at how much customizing we could do on our current website. And it's kind of a bizarre setup, really. There's very limited as to what you can do. It's almost like it's a pre-planned template, and you can only change certain aspects of it. I mean, like the pictures, for instance, like the front page picture, you only have 5 pictures to choose from, and that's it. Like you can't upload your own media, you can't upload your own.
And this is the one we have now.
The one we have now. It's a very strange setup, in my opinion, and it's very clunky and it's hard to update. And if it's coming due anyway, I guess my thought was maybe we should explore some other options. There's a website makers out there. There are a dime a dozen. I personally use Wix a ton in the past for different projects I've worked on. So because I'm bored and have too much time on my hands sometimes, I decided just to kind of mock something up just to give everyone like an idea. I know I sent it out to Kendra and Brian via email today. I didn't know if, I didn't know if I could forward it to everybody. We certainly don't have to do what I started by any means, but just to kind of show you what's possible with that kind of setup. I do have my laptop here, I can pull it up and kind of get on my iPad, I guess.
Her version is a lot more user-friendly, and it's not clunky to get around. I don't think we should renew what we have. It's just not, there's nothing there. Like, there's no information.
It's not even in city or town, right?
Yeah, the picture has palm trees.
And I don't blame him for picking that one, because that is the best out of the 5 options they give you, but it's a very strange setup. And I tried to Google it to do some research on like the platform to see if maybe it was an older version or if there was some updates or some software that could be downloaded to allow us to edit it further, and there's nothing out there about this stuff currently. It's just a very strange setup. I don't know who makes it, I guess, but it's pretty outdated.
I've had several people comment on what we have, they don't even use it because there's just nothing there. They don't feel like they're gonna find anything. And there's a lot of stuff that we could put on a new one to make it a lot more user friendly. Especially if we do, like, when we have the dumpsters come to town, or people ask all the time about the rubble site hours. I mean, that's all stuff that needs to be on there. And it looks like this version, it's a lot easier to include all that information. So I think we need to revamp.
Is there a way, one of the things we really heard with the community center is it's not the website. The golf course is not a good website. We've heard this and heard this and heard this. People look for it and they can't find it. So would there be a way to put all this on there or not?
Yeah.
I already have that, yeah. Does anyone know the Wi-Fi password here? Chance? Sorry. I should have been prepared. I should have done this before the meeting. I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm still coming off a head cold, so I'm fuzzy. Already done.
Yeah, please don't.
So
Don't make me edit the
the reason
camera.
The reason this came up is, as I got started and got caught up on emails, the website is due for renewal November 1st. The way this company does it is it's a 4-year contract. And in your handouts, year one is $1,995, and then it kind of goes up from there as time goes on. I was not able to open up the document. I didn't want to get too far into trying to open this document and accidentally like sign it or accept anything. But I was able to print out the price sheet. So I don't know what all of that includes. This company just took over the Gov office or whatever it was.
Well, maybe that's why I couldn't find much information on them online. If they're brand new,
They just,
that makes sense.
within the last, it sounds like within the last year or so, this Catalyst just kind of came on board and took over the prior company that hosted it.
That makes sense why I couldn't find much information on the platform. Oh, sorry, I got you.
So this is a company or you're doing it, Joe?
I'm doing it. I'm using a website maker to do it. I mean, I'm not like coding it myself or anything, but and it's pretty cheap. I mean, unless we want to get really fancy with it and start taking payments like actually through the website or anything, I think it's like I want to say $50 a year. If we want our own custom URL, then that's pretty much the only fee associated.
That's dirt cheap.
Yeah, I mean, and we can get fancier with it if you want to start taking payments through it or anything like that. I mean, that is an option, but.
But then you could put on there whether we want lawns to be cut so much, you could put that type of stuff in there as a, because people say they don't know how much it costs.
When to cut their lawn, when it looks like crap.
When your lawn looks terrible, please.
How much is it now for a Wick's website?
It's only, for a URL, I want to say it was like $50 a year or something. It was like super cheap.
So would you be, if we pay that for the URL, would you be willing to continue doing it and then keep up with it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's pretty, once you get the designing part done, it's pretty simple. So I mean, if I'm ever.
I mean, I can help you as well. I know how to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, once you get it.
And Dave could help us out with
I'm
it.
trying to find.
Maybe Brian, you can do it.
Sorry, don't ask me.
Yeah,
Don't ask me, I'm not. I can't even get my computer at home to work anymore.
And I can't get mine to work either.
Well, I just showed them, so if
Yeah,
you want
we
to
saw
show
it.
for later. you can.
Yeah, here, we'll just let her let it
let
load for a minute, let it think about it.
Um,
Poke her.
Maybe we should try that too.
There you go, you can poke around on it. That's
Yeah,
the
even if
review
you
version,
pay
so
$50
you
and then decided next year to get rid of it, like,
can click on any of those up there. Those are
It's a lot cheaper than what we're doing now.
it saves us $1,945.
I should double check the numbers from Wix, but I know it's nothing like that. It's like dirt cheap.
I just didn't know what, I knew a few years ago what it was, but I haven't
Well,
What
but
was
then
it a
we
few
could
years
let
ago?
the chamber,
I
we
think it was
could
like
let the chamber
Oh,
know,
maybe it is
we
more
could
than
let the golf course, we could let them all know that we are doing this.
Yeah, and I had sections already for like, the golf course that Cub has.
Cemetery,
We could put that on there, absolutely. Police department, we could if we wanted.
yep.
I mean, this is fully customizable. I can put anything we want, basically.
That's the big thing, is it's totally encompassing, we can put anything we want.
Can you have it semi up and
Well,
running
no,
by?
No, yeah,
But
but
it
this
would
would be, yeah.
Put people down. Those, like, you can put those not to do the one page.
Wow.
I guess I'd say go ahead and cancel our subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so much, I like it.
I don't know if you have to make a motion or just say we not renew.
A free picture. If we cancel it, we might want to give ourselves a little bit of time before we cancel it though. Oh, what's the renewal date? How long?
November.
Oh, so we have a while to pull all our old forms and data off there and everything.
There's no forms and
Oh, like, I was thinking the PDFs, but I'm sure we have on board somewhere that.
I don't
Oh,
need
how about if we do it till
Should we
October?
wait till October 17th
to.
to make a motion?
Sure.
That way
Absolutely, and then I can keep working on this and share
Can
with
you make
people.
note of that, Tad?
Find out how much it's
Agenda?
gonna cost and everything, yeah.
Yep, absolutely, I'll keep doing some research on it.
Bet.
Yeah.
Dave, if you want to make a note, yes, the next agenda.
That's my pen.
Any other discussion in regards to the site, city website renewal? If not, it's going to be tabled till the next meeting, the 17th. We'll move on to number 10, legal updates with Austin.
I don't have a ton, but two things that Dave, and maybe it was Abigail, but Jeff Dolan since he stopped in, the code inspector, two houses specifically, it was Dave, two houses specifically, I know there's been a discussion with the city before. Number 1307, Iowa. This was the one that specifically there hasn't been a ton of work done. The city had agreed to wait until the end of 2023 to take any action. To his knowledge, there have been 3 sheets of plywood hung, no other progress made for an outside inspection. The other one was 202 Broad Street, no noticeable progress. Doesn't believe there's any work done. That the landscape we're going to encroach on the alley, that would be the one getting corner to the police station. So these are just things that we're getting near the end of the year, especially when we're talking about nuisances, and I don't know how aggressive the city would like to get on kind of enforcing nuisances, but it does become difficult when the rules are enforced for some, and then we don't enforce them for others, and then we have people that they're enforced on being like, well, why should I do that when the city isn't enforcing a blanket? You know, I guess I've always been of the notion, well, you know, the rules are there for a reason. You can either change the rules, if you don't enforce them as is, it becomes a major issue. So just be aware of that. And then the next meeting, we'll have a discussion about the plat maps and the ordinances that were discussed last time. And that's all I really have. It's just the nuisances, so kind of think about that.
So what would happen with the nuisances? For instance, what would be the next step?
So there's 2 kind of steps that can happen. You know, a lot of these you have to get inspections, potential condemnation actions, etc. You got to go to court and get court orders for that sort of stuff. You have the ability to do it, but typically it's not something. And I do some work with some code enforcers in the area. I'd like to have city council approval before you initiate any action like that, just to make sure that it's not, you know, the code enforcer doing it unilaterally or the attorney doing it unilaterally. I like to at least get the approval and say, yes, we want to go ahead with that, make sure everybody's on the same page, so.
Because I mean, you could put somebody out of their homes, they don't even have a home.
Correct, and that's
That's not good either. You know what I mean?
Yep, No,
So
and
that's what's, and some people don't have money
Yep.
to pay for it, so then it'd go against your taxes, correct? Which would be, in the end, a good way, but,
Are there people living in both places?
yeah.
Just one.
Just the one.
Just no.
Yeah, there was one in camp.
Oh,
He lives on the property though.
And that's why I get it.
it's a really
It's a
hard,
very hard situation, that's why it can't be, just one person trying to go after it and enforce it, because I think it's a council decision, whatever.
because we got a few others in town too that might be in the same category.
Correct, but I get the concerns.
You rode with
Correct. Here's all the letters. Spent 17 hours this past 4 days looking at properties in town. If we're gonna do something with these two, we need to enforce all these letters.
I agree.
Because nothing is getting done in there, and there's half the people that have no care. They don't care about their city. If they did, they'd clean up and they'd do something about it. We have one house, the garage, the roof is laying inside the garage and the walls are ready to fall over, and there's little kids that live next to it. So, I mean, we gotta take this big with the bad and the small with the, large. I don't know. Just like building permits, working on legal updates. We got quite a few people doing building permits, or doing building projects without building permits. And an
So
ordinance.
is that something like, if we notice someone is doing a building project, how do we handle that? Do we send a letter? Is that something Jeff would stop at their house and?
Stop by the city office, see if there's been a building permit. And if there has not, then we call the code enforcer.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and we have the ability to get a stop order on it to prevent them from making changes if they haven't got a building permit or got any.
I guess I meant more for like our side, like if we know that someone's doing it without, I guess I was wondering more who goes and talks to the citizen and tells them like, hey, we know you're doing this without a permit.
But what if you're a renter?
Then it falls back. Well, it depends. If it's
What's the situation with the renter, like landlords doing stuff in the house?
Yes.
And renters doing stuff? Well, that's on the landlord. It's not the renter's fault.
And I think while we're on the legal updates, we need to discuss that house with the
Yes.
steel roof.
Yep, so the house with the steel roof never got full specifications as to building permit, and it was installed incorrectly underneath the building code. There's two different ways that somebody could do it. They could theoretically come in and get a variance, and city council could grant them a variance. Number two, it could move forward and you could prevent them by essentially forcing them to tear the roof off, I guess. I think it's a matter of bad practice if anytime somebody screws something up and they don't do it according to code, that you just grant it. And then you're just allowing buildings that aren't necessarily structurally sound potentially to just continue. And the ordinances and the zoning ordinances are there for a reason.
Most of those metal roofs in town have the screws going, that you can see them.
The ones that were done before we had made that amendment to the ordinance.
How long ago was that?
But,
So there hasn't been that many, do we know that the other ones that have been put on since then are done correctly?
The one building permit was a brand new house, and he ordered his steel, and he came and made sure he was in line with the ordinance, and he was not. So he was violating the ordinance, and he went and reordered his steel with hidden fasteners, and yeah, it was 3 times more money, but
Okay, 'cause I
he did
noticed-
what was right.
Because I noticed most of the roofs around town, you can see those screws and I thought, well, why are we trying to enforce this? But this was because, this was before that ordinance was approved.
So they would be grandfathered in,
Right,
correct? So they were done
right.
prior to making that amendment, but now if they take that steel roof off, just say the rubber garment on the screw goes bad, starts leaking, they need to put new steel on the roof, they're gonna have to abide with the new ordinance and go with hidden fasteners.
Correct. Any new structure, or I guess I wouldn't call it a new structure, but a change to an existing structure would have to be up to code.
So is the reason that ordinance was adopted, is there concern with the quality of a roof installed that way? I don't know anything about roofing, but is there a hazard to having it done that way? More leaks, I would assume.
Over time, yeah.
Yeah.
Possibility of leaks, yeah.
That was before I was here, it was when we adopted that ordinance. My guess is it's
And
all.
Billingson says that's not just an Alcester rule.
That's right.
That's pretty much,
This is the international.
yeah.
Okay, so it's to follow that.
It's not
Okay.
just us.
Yeah.
I see.
It's
That makes
the
sense.
IBC, the International Building Code, which we've adopted in the 2021. So it's universal
Person
across.
who put the roof on
New bidder.
and they did it wrong, so that homeowner should go after whoever put the roof
He hasn't.
on. Like the contractor, correct? Whoever did the roof.
I'm not,
That would be his problem.
yeah, that's not our problem.
But he should, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be on the contractor to do that. I would think.
And I think it's also an appearance deal, just with pin fasteners, I mean.
I just haven't.
Just
I've
that
never-
the exposed screws,
Yours is
it
right.
doesn't look as good, so I think that's a part of
I
it.
proved that.
So I guess if that's a rule, then we have to follow the rule, otherwise, yeah, we're not following the rules.
So that was the only update. Yes. And I agree with the mayor that those letters need to get sent out that way. It's a bullet you gotta bite off, but it's gotta be done at a certain point.
How often
Do we do this?
Every year.
Just once a year?
No, usually in the spring, and then we follow up. If they didn't comply with the letter.
Okay.
And ideally, you get to the point where you don't have to send it every year. It's as it occurs basis where, hey, this is occurring, we gotta send a letter out. That way, everybody's in compliance with it. not just
So
the
if we have a person that owns the property, but he's renting it out, and that person isn't taking or that yard's not being taken care of, so technically, it still goes back to the person that owns the property.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he has an agreement with the renter, saying you will take care of it, then he's gonna have to bite that person and
Yep,
make sure
yep.
they get it
Yeah.
done.
That's not the city's problem.
Yeah.
It's their responsibility to comply with what we have for codes.
So what we do then is give these back to Jeff, these letters, is that, or what, or we as
they
a
have to be
city?
sent out, right?
Well, we need to go back through.
Yeah, because I sent them out. I sent them out in
Oh,
June.
you already sent, those are copies you have? Okay.
Well, the guy that has the property south of me, you know, I brought it to your attention back a few months ago. You go in behind that shed he's got sitting there, and there's 2 holes. Yay deep, so big around, got cement around it. I don't know what was originally there, but I thought, boy, if some little kid was to fall into that, they could disappear.
Maybe an old cistern or something like that, probably.
And I guess the city's ultimate concern is more specifically, you know, the immediate concerns have to be the ones that pose an imminent threat to human danger, whether that's the people inside the buildings and also around the buildings. So that's where you kind of have to prioritize a little bit which ones are absolutely necessary, you know. Holes like that, that's an attractive nuisance, that can definitely have a
I
child
could see
fall.
somebody really getting hurt there.
And the consequence for these are fines, correct?
Fines, or to a certain extent, the city has the ability to remedy and then assess the damage or assess the cost to the property owner.
I would say, let's act on those, and if the people don't do it, we have to take care of it, then they get billed.
If I may,
So,
if I may make a, could you guys speak up just a little bit? It's
Yeah,
the,
sorry. Thank you for the reminder.
So in other words, we'd have to go around with Jeff again, follow up with the letter to see if they have corresponded with it and complied to what we're asking, and if they have not, then we would, you know, send it out, or if there was multiple things on the letter, we would have to cross those off, modify it, and then resend it that way.
Question.
Yep.
Were those 2 houses listed here, did they receive those letters as well?
They did.
What was the, I guess, requested action?
Well, I don't know if we, back when we made this agreement, it was a lot more detailed than anything in this.
I
Oh,
know,
okay.
I know the specific houses that I've mentioned are well aware of the issues, and there have been multiple conversations, which I would say have not been very productive.
And one guy came to council, right, and spoke about this house?
Correct.
Lawson, kind of thing.
Yeah, so he well aware of it.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's not really something we can remedy though and charge them for in that case, right? So what would our steps be in a house like that where it's, you know, not just a simple yard cleanup?
It's a rock and a hard place for a city, because kind of like Darla spoke, you know, that if they can't make the remedies themselves, I mean, the alternative is taking court action. Well, a court can order somebody to take action, but if they don't have the ability or the means to take care of it, there's not a lot you can do.
Right.
So that's just kind of in the size of the community where you run into issues, so.
But didn't that happen like a couple of years ago, like outside of city limits, there was like a lady who needed a whole bunch done on her house, and the city like came together to help her get those things done, so she wouldn't get kicked out of her house?
A contract.
Wade took donations up.
Yeah, so I mean, like, if somebody wanted to do that for themselves because they couldn't, then like, they could take that route, and the city could come together and help those people, but, so it's not like there's no options, like, they would immediately be kicked out of their house because they can't afford to fix it.
Correct, but it's just,
Yeah.
I mean,
We would have to
you
put
know,
a motion.
specifically, I guess, I'm more concerned with just liability for the city that they can incur, you know, if
Yeah.
damage were to occur to somebody in or around the buildings. So mainly structural issues, but I don't disagree that in order to, you know, have a well-maintained city, some of the other more, what's the word I'm looking for, more environmental, like, you know, making it look nice are important to the city. Aesthetic, I guess, would be the word to use, so.
We have a yard just kitty corner from the post office. The grass is 15, 18 inches tall. The wild trees are at least 3.5 to 4.5 foot tall in the backyard, wild trees all over. I'm glad that's not my neighbor's yard. So something like that, yes, they just need to take care of it or hire somebody to do it or something. I mean, something like that is simple, but we just can't let that go because we do have that ordinance. Anything else in regards to legal updates or nuisance?
I don't have anything unless anybody has something to answer, but nothing else.
So are you going to go ahead and contact Jeff to go through that?
Number 11, summer rec program. Darla, you want to kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, you have a handout. Carolyn, or Dave contacted Carolyn. Okay, Carolyn Hanslow from the school is in charge of the summer rec program. And sometimes the only reason I put this on here is because I don't think us as a council realizes we're part of that. They have their own committee. But as a city, we carry the insurance on the buildings and the liability. So it was the city of Alcester, Carolyn Hansel Elementary. David talked to her about sales tax. Do we pay the sales tax from the summer months, correct, Dave?
There is, yep. For July and August, there weren't any, so it wasn't a huge cost. I'd have to look back and see what July was.
It's from
It was a small
what they
amount.
sell at the concession stand at ball games. So we do pay sales tax on that in the summer. That's it as far as what we're involved with, other than we do carry the insurance on the buildings and the liability on the property, which is the ball fields and that concession stand up there. They carry the liability insurance on the kids or the players, the coach. They do that with the fees they charge, just so you're kind of aware of that. In the past, and I remember when I started on the council, we gave them $500 a year just to help. They really don't make much money. They make enough in their concession stands to pay reps and help with the lights. But it's nip and tuck. So we've always given them $500 a summer. The last 2-3 years, we have given them nothing. And I asked her why, she said, I have no idea. It's never been brought to the council, so I don't know. They do the mowing in April, May, June, and part of July, but after that, it is our responsibility as a city to mow. And I think Mr. Reed does it, but he just does that out of the kindness of his heart. If he decides to retire, that's still our job. So I guess Carolyn said she really did appreciate Jamie. Jamie came from the cemetery one day and went all the way around the buildings with this weed eater and some of that. And that is just the inside of the fields. The city is still responsible for the outside along the road there. That is the city. So so we're aware of that. We have not been aware of that. So we are a part of that up there. So Mike cleans the bathroom from the school. And with that, he has asked for a key to the dump instead of being paid. So he does have a key to the dump, which brings up another concern because a lot of people have keys to that dump. So is it a hard problem that we could put a new lock on the dump and just kind of limit the keys? I don't know. Thoughts on that? Because I know a lot of people still have keys to that dump. And then it falls back on Mitch if it's put in the wrong pot. Just another question.
I think we probably should start anew with a new lock and we need to know who has the keys. You know, who we're gonna give it to. Okay, so if he wanted a key, then we would have
I mean,
to
we're not
document
paying
it.
him to clean.
Yeah.
So maybe that is an option. He would rather have a key to bring the dump up there, but well, I don't know.
So the minute somebody wants the key for after hours, do you give out a key?
We have a sign-out sheet. So they put their name, the time they signed it out, and then when it comes back.
So as soon as the key goes out, they can go make a duplicate if they want. So I mean, we can change the lock, but that's why, you know, that's kind of what happened with Alcota. There's quite a few employees that have
You
keys.
do not duplicate key,
Yeah,
Okay.
right? Because then no like locks for anybody.
they won't duplicate it.
Allowed.
There is those do-it-yourself machines, I wonder, do those probably know how to look for that marking on the key though, I suppose. But yeah, that would cut down on a lot of it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we can change the lock and slow it down, you know. That's all.
And then, so like she said, the fall mowing will be, really is, but I think the school has been doing it, to be honest with you. And then also there is weeds, and so that weed kind of is us. And there again, I don't think we knew that.
So we're supposed to mow it for July and August.
On the outside, they mow it the inside. Now, August, it's ours to mow, because fall's
July.
over. Yeah. Part of July, I think they might mow the inside, because there is a few games. But, so, I just wanted to present that, so we, as a council, know that, because I don't think we can talk about it. So, that was more for your information, I guess. And Dave, you're okay with the tax part then, right? And the same with, though, coming back, you know how I talked about the swimming pool, possibly putting 3 poles there? Talking to Carmen yesterday at the insurance office. She said our insurance is very particular on if we are proactive. And if we put those poles up there, we put the bike rack over there, we put the table up there, and some kid's bike gets run over here, and we've put up a sign that says not responsible for bikes, we're covered. But if we do nothing, it probably will not cover. So she said anything in the city, we gotta be proactive if we want insurance. She gave the example of the lady that had sewage in her basement. The city, they felt, was not proactive on that, so it was not covered to her. There was something else she said. There was 2 or 3 things. So we have to do our part to be proactive to make it safe. And and then insurance covers. Does that make sense?
Like you're in thunder or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Thunder.
Yeah, there's just a big line of rain coming.
Well, any other discussion? We don't need a motion on this
No,
one, so.
no.
I do have a question. I guess, is there any interest or is anybody from the city on that committee? Or like, do we
The rec-
ever
no,
get
some
more
rec would not.
information or?
You know, maybe we could start inviting them, somebody from that board in the spring meeting. You know,
I was
before
just curious,
Boston.
because
Yeah.
how else are we gonna find out what they're talking about and nobody knows?
Yeah, that's a good.
Because it
idea.
doesn't seem to be their concern, otherwise they would have said something.
Well, they,
Or are they like
addressed some of it.
secretly like angry at us and not telling us? Well, I'm just saying, like, I feel like that's a them issue if they are secretly angry at us, but.
they've been angry, but not at the council.
Secretly.
They've been angry, but not, I can say that
Okay.
much.
Are we done with discussion on that one, on that line item? All right, we'll move on to number 12, community center. Discussion more or less on the sprinkler system. I know we had a sprinkler head that was leaking in the walk-in cooler area. And,
Friday, isn't it?
yeah, I believe so.
Thursday.
So Thursday. So Kelsey took care of that, called in, had it fixed, I believe. And this handout is just, it's a company that is wanting our business on really servicing them, you know, I believe.
But it wasn't checked, correct, Dave?
I didn't have the conversation.
There were no tags proving that they had been inspected in the first place. So while he was there fixing the issue, he did an inspection for us. And the quote that you guys have is to do the annual inspection.
The fire marshal had taken care of that when they did the final inspection.
They don't do
Oh, we
the
haven't had
actual,
it.
I don't think they do the actual certification. I don't know that the fire marshal, I'd have to look into it more, but there was nothing tagged showing that it had been inspected.
Right, it might have been, but
If it
there's
has,
no proof.
and it's filed somewhere, it might be, but the tag was not there, so that's what we thought.
Something to ask about for the final inspection.
So I did get a phone call from the guy the contractor that built it. He has not been paid the final payment. The punch list was completed and was signed off. He would like to be paid. I think it's right at, I can pull up the email, but we're gonna just rough it out at the moment. I think it's right at $27,000 we owe yet. He has every right to get paid. He did his work. He built it to the architect's specs. Anything beyond that, if there's an issue, it goes back to the architect because it was designed wrong. We're gonna put an air conditioner up overhead and we're going to try to run a pipe, a hose 70 feet at gravity. You know as well as I do, it's gonna be an issue. So initially, we're out of warranty because we did not bring it to the table in time. And this guy is ready, initially he's ready to take further action if we would not like to pay him. We have the money in the account, I believe there's $60-some thousand in the account. I mean, we can not pay him and try to use that as leverage on some of the things not getting fixed, but at this point, I think we have to go legal action upon the architect and the guys that decided to build it this way, put the siding on the cart shed that was not right, you know. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if that guy did his part of the job, then he deserves to be paid for it.
The punch list was completed and signed off.
Yep.
By the architect and Dick? Or,
Whoever has to sign the punch list. So it's just something to think about on that behalf, outside of what we're discussing.
I don't want to give it too much notice. session, just advice wise, but I haven't seen anything with a punch list or anything like that. This is the first it's been brought to my attention. I know there was supposed to be an inspection done mid-July, I believe, for signing off on it. Sam and I were supposed to go, and then there were some other things that happened with city offices that all of a sudden we don't know. So I don't know who signed off on the punch list, do you know?
I do not. This is just, I have not went anywhere with information besides what Janice told me.
Okay, yeah. Before I can give an adequate assessment on it, I gotta see documents and things of that variety, because I wasn't involved with the creation with the architect, the builder, anything like that, so.
I can't give a source that I know, but the architect firm we have has been in some, they've been dispersed, put it this way, they've all taken different jobs. And I was told you pay that, you have no leverage, but there again, it's legal. So I don't know. But it's stuff we're gonna have to find out.
And if there's architects that have gone their own way, I mean, they're.
The company's not, I don't know.
If it's a different company, I don't know what leverage not
We have it all.
builder's gonna have, so. That's kind of, before I give it, I gotta look at the documents and stuff.
Problem is, we don't, where do we look for that?
They're in the emails and then.
And I'm guessing contract will also have it as well, yeah, so.
So we don't have to do anything with this sprinkler, besides paying the bill to fix it.
I haven't received the final invoice.
You're
yet.
correct.
This was just his proposal
Yep.
for the inspection.
But he did the inspection?
The inspection he did that day will be on the invoice with,
Oh.
along with the repairs, but it'll be due again.
So we have plenty of time to see what we need to do or figure anything out before we have to determine next year if we want to use his business.
I did not talk to this guy.
Just because it
first.
says month of August.
Did
we
this
have until
guy
next
visit
August.
you or?
I didn't talk to him as well as Scott.
There's a particular, I can't remember exactly what it was that he described to me, but there's a particular thing for runoff that needs to be inspected every 3 years, and it did not get done this year. So since it's too late in the season to do it, he's proposing to come back starting in August, like annually, so that he can do that inspection as well. But that's why he suggested August. Make sure that thing gets done.
So I guess just put a reminder in for next year to have this checked and talked.
The only thing I would say is maybe we would want to revisit a little bit sooner in case his rates would go up from what he's offering here by next August.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much, things like that, how much those costs tend to change year to year, fluctuate, but just something to keep in mind.
So with that said, I don't believe we need anything else under 12. Because we do not have the final bill on the fixing, so. I guess we'll move on to number 13, street department update. I think maybe you all had received an email in regards to that. This was already approved once before, months back. I don't know why it did not get fixed. So, I think Lonnie had hopes of getting a new bill loader, that's what I believe. So, yeah, the two pivot pins need replacing, steering wheel is loose, the front hydraulic connector coupler, pretty much just when they hook up the two-way blade in the winter time, it's gonna make it easier for hooking up the hoses. The pivot pins are just normal wear, so.
Do they have to swap out the steering column, Luke, or is that just a matter of tightening it up as far as the steering wheel being loose?
More than likely they'll have to replace some mechanism in the steering column. And of course, the approximate cost is $7,250. It was kind of broke down in your email. I don't know what you want to do there, but it's just the updates on the street department anyway.
Does, or, excuse my ignorance, I have no idea, is that like, if it's done now, it'll last a while, or?
If it gets maintained properly, yes. If it does not, it will not last a long time.
I'm trying to look at the CIP that I don't have in front of me. Because I'm trying to remember the cost of that wheel loader through John Deere. It was, I want to say like a 5-year loan, and it was at, I want to say 48,000 or roughly like that, and then broken out annually for that.
I think if I remember correct, it was about 200,000 to trade.
But 48
Correct.
a year, okay, so, because we got a discount for trading it in, so it was like 48,000.
It'd be about 40-some thousand in interest.
So fixing it is relative.
Oh, absolutely.
If, so we could get another year's use out of it, or 2 years? I don't know.
I think so. At
Is
least.
that an okay assumption? I think just kind of how we're sitting right now as a city, that's probably a smarter idea, budgetary wise, than to buy a brand new one.
So this is something they basically use quite often. I mean, for snow removal and everything else.
Yep.
It's like the
They're
main.
a big loader.
Yep.
Yep.
We need to have that operational or have another one in its place, so I guess we'd like to vote to do that as far as.
It was already approved, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other discussion in regards to 13? If not, we'll move on to number 14, city government open forum night. Dave, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so just an idea that I had with all the changeover in the government offices, especially here in the past year, just trying to bring back the trust and openness of the government to the city. So the idea was hosting an evening at the community center. All the council members, mayor, the finance office, water, sewer, all, basically all the city employees being available, putting it out to the community. Hey, here's your Ward 2 alderman, here's your Ward 3. These are the people that represent you specifically. If they're new to town, or maybe they don't vote as much as maybe they should, they can put a face to the name. Allowing the public to ask questions, give input. I mean, granted, they have this forum as well, but just something else, less formal. Make it fun. We could offer some sort of coloring contest for the kids, and the council members could judge the council, do something like that. Just to make it something fun, invite the public, allow them to meet and greet. Just something kind of, hey, this is us. What can we do to help you? What would you like to see out of us? Here's what, as a council, this is what we're doing for this, this is what our thoughts are for the city for the next year, or, things like that. So, just something I thought we could do coming up here either this fall or early winter.
I'm for that. I like that idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
If we're gonna do it during the winter though, which would be fine with me because I get people out, but we should have a fallback date just in case we have that. Sure.
Yep, great idea. Any other discussion?
Maybe we could tie it in with 1st of December when the city does, chamber does quite a bit of things, don't they?
The first Friday in December,
Yeah.
the chamber Christmas tree lighting.
Or is that too much?
I'll be a little busy.
Yeah, and I
That might be a little much for one
Or
night.
should we
'Cause
wait till 1st of January? New Year?
I don't know if you wanna do it on New Year's.
I like the first
I'm
part.
not that specific, Tim.
Very funny.
Is that too far out?
Whatever you guys feel is, I can talk to Landon and see what the schedule looks like, and
Yeah.
whatever you
let's
guys
see.
feel is
Yeah.
appropriate. I can bring a couple of options for dates next meeting.
Okay.
Perfect.
Do it.
Great. Any other discussion? Well, we'll move on to number 15, city insurance policy.
Well, we
It,
kind of did discuss it
Yep.
already. We pay roughly 38,000 a year for our city insurance.
May 1st, 2023, the invoice renewal for all insurance policies carried by the city was $38,642.
Just so we're aware of that. And that's replacement value. So that's probably a little bit higher, especially on some of your, like the community center. She said that's high because it's new. So, but that's just so you're kind of aware of that. And then that's when she had the discussion about being proactive, make things, she said signage is very important. So if we have something that we see, signage is important to have on, because that's the warning. So, but that's all we talked about. I don't know if you have any other question, but it was informative.
One definitely think, like the thing for the pool, we definitely need the signage since we had issues with that already.
Yep. Yep. And we did more at the golf course with signage, so.
Any other questions? Concerns? Okay. We'll move on to number 16, executive session if needed.
I don't think we need an executive session for it, but I was just thinking, another month from now, Abigail's gonna be gone. And who are we gonna have reading meters? Are we gonna have a city worker do it, or the new person that's,
Could be the new person, or we'll have to have the city employee read the West End.
well, I just wanna make sure we get it worked out before it's needed, because right now, I think, Abigail's sisters are doing that, right? Yeah. But I don't know if they'd wanna be doing it this winter or not.
We'll get it covered.
Okay.
Move on to number 17, reminders. Next city council meeting, Tuesday, October 17th, 6 p.m. Fall citywide cleanup, dumpsters will be downtown October 6th, through October 16th. And something a little bit different this year, I believe, scrap metal and appliances can be placed on the side of the dumpster this year to be hauled away. And then another thing, old school tear down in progress, hoping to be completed this fall. And that's all I have for reminders.
I have a question about that. If we can put appliances and scrap metal on the side, can we designate which side so that people pulling up to actually throw things in the dumpster and get close enough to the dumpsters? We don't want to have like 12 feet of scrap metal out where people are having to manually pick everything up and
Good idea.
haul it into the dumpster.
Maybe just tape a sign to it or something,
Yeah.
like square middle here.
Well, because it's just like with anything out here at the, people start putting stuff in this shed for the thrift store.
Okay.
And then it's like, it's full, but it's got all this room up here.
I've had it right pulled down there before, and I didn't get to use them because they were full, but I mean, there's so much stuff piled inside, I couldn't even get close.
Yeah.
And someone just dumped a couch right at the
Yeah, I don't
side.
think that we should be,
So we need to put
don't
up
the
some kind of
PD
sign.
cameras cover that?
Somewhat.
Any other reminders?
I have had very positive comments about her float.
It was very cute, it tasted so good.
They said they were happy that the city was involved.
Like raining.
Yeah.
We had 60-mile-an-hour winds coming.
Oh, awesome.
Like soon.
Let's adjourn. 60 mile an hour winds gusting.
Oh, yay. Oh, I hope my spiders don't do
Well,
I hope.
Right now, it's directly mine.
if no other reminders, we have one thing left, and that's to adjourn the meeting.
that. Make a motion to adjourn, council.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We adjourn at 7:58 PM.